Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but as always, we want to give our sponsors a shout out. Now, don't hit that fast forward button. These are all companies I used as an athletic director. I trust them, and I want you to trust them too. So take the next couple minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. We want to thank our good friends at Huddle for their support. You know, as a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches, all of our coaches, just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our kids love the videos, and our parents love the streaming, but there's so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to thank our good friends at Gipper. Go to gipper.com and you can start creating world-class marketing content to promote your teams and celebrate your athletes. The Gipper team is going to work with you to help you become a world-class content creator. Go to gipper.com for more information. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Probably the best purchase I ever made as an AD was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com to see all of their great products. We want to thank the Ohio University Online Masters in Athletic Administration. This is an affordable 20-month, totally online program that also allows you to earn 11 anti-AAA leadership training courses to go towards your CAA. To get started, just go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters. We want to thank Hometown Ticketing. Hometown is the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Vital Signs. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the events, or show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. It's also a great way to tell your school's unique history and share your proudest moments. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Home Campus. You know, Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every single day for things like scheduling, uploading scores and rosters. How about student athlete eligibility and clearance? Who doesn't do that every day? Go to homecampus.com to get started. That's homecampus.com. We also want to thank SnapRaise. If you're looking for a great fundraising platform, you just found it. Go to snapraise.com. Hands down, the best online fundraising out there. We used it at our school with tremendous success. Our coaches loved it and our parents loved it. And you're going to love it too. Go to snapraise.com. The best online fundraiser out there. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic directors already get feedback, but typically it's from a very small group that just wants to gripe about everything. Athletic Surveys will connect you to that group, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% that supports your program. That's a tremendously valuable tool to have, especially when you're talking to a frustrated parent, maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. athleticsurveys.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We are going all the way across the Atlantic to Ireland, and we're going to be visiting today with Tiegan Ruddy. Tiegan has incredible background in athletics. She is a professional football player for the Bohemian Football Club. She's also a business rep for a company called SportsKey, and athletic directors and coaches, you're going to want to hear about that. But Tiegan Ruddy, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thanks very much, Jake. Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
Oh, well, you and I were talking about Ireland a little bit. You know, we'll have to save those details for another podcast. But thanks again for coming on. I know you're incredibly busy, but we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us that quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up. Maybe take us up through your own, let's say, university days, and then we'll take a break. But what's the Tiegan Ruddy story?
Yeah, so I was born actually originally I was born in London, and then I just lived there for a couple of months. Then we moved to Ireland, so I would call myself Irish, and yeah, so I've lived here since I'm a couple of months old, live with my family, my two parents, my brother and my sister. And then yeah, so I've lived in just outside of Dublin, outside the city. And I went to school here, started playing football at about 3, 4 years old. And then yeah, moved from different clubs around Ireland. I've tasted the league out a bit, and then I moved to after I finished what you would call high school. I went to Central Connecticut State University. So I was there for 1 year under the great Mick Darcy, and we played yeah D1 soccer there for a year, and I loved it. I would have done my 4 years, but I done my cruciate, so that ended things. But yeah, then yeah, so that's kind of up until university time. Yeah.
I want to hear more about your early days. Growing up. Again, sports in Europe is done a little bit differently than in the States. In the States, although people might say it's not different. Sports is not so much in the school itself. It's through clubs, and certainly there's a robust club system in the United States. But what was that like for you? Those first tryouts, where coaches are evaluating you, you're getting put at different levels. What are your memories of that time?
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of it's all fond memories. I grew up playing for my local club here, and with the boys team. So there wasn't really girls teams at the time. So yeah, played with the boys up until I was 14, and then you kind of make the step into the girls setup, and then you kind of that's when it gets competitive with international teams, and then it's like the League of Ireland. So that would be, I suppose, your NWSL. Let's call it that. So that's when it gets competitive and more exciting, maybe.
What again, looking at that developmental stage for you, or even up into those first girl clubs teams that you're playing on, it's always a challenge for coaches to have a balance between skill development, technical development, and then the team concept, what we would call scrimmaging in the States.
Yeah.
Um, where did your coaches fall on that? Was it, more technical? Was it an even balance? Again, I'm forcing you to go back into your memories here.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Look, I actually understand all of that because I coach myself at the minute as well. I'm doing my licenses. But yeah, I think to be honest, growing up it was mainly just fun. I played on a very good boys team, so we were quite competitive. But yeah, I think it's so important that I grew up with it being a fun environment because there wasn't much pressure on me. My parents weren't hounding me about, you know, doing extra stuff. It was more about just enjoying it, making friends, making memories. And then I suppose then when I got a bit older, it was maybe when I was 12, 13, it kind of got a bit more, okay, you need to be better with your left foot. You need to be thinking more tactically. So yeah, no, I think I had a great experience with learning the game through fun.
Okay. Let's go and jump to your college days, Central Connecticut, Division One. How was that for you coming over, as a college freshman? Obviously, or I won't say obviously, I'm going to guess that, your training, your fundamentals, probably were among the best on the team because you grew up with the sport. Is that a fair assumption, or were there other girls that were just as good or better on that Connecticut team?
I definitely wasn't the best player, no, but I think maybe the the style of play is a lot is different sometimes. So I think there was a couple internationals. So I came over with one of my friends from here, who's a really talented footballer. Roma McLaughlin is her name, and we came over, and maybe our technical side of things were quite good, but I suppose their power, all the Americans, they were powerful, they were strong, they were fit. And we might have struggled in the weight room a bit. So yeah, I think there's a lot of differences, but I think bringing that all together in one team is really nice to see.
Oh yeah, no, and you bring up a great point. The physical training in any sport is so important that there might be somebody who is more technically gifted than you, but you can close that gap through strength and speed and agility. Um, you mentioned, and again, you're for our listeners, Tiegan is very much at the front end of her career. You mentioned your coaching now. Um, can you think back to a moment, either, in your developmental days or high school, maybe even college, that at the time it didn't seem like much, but now looking back with wisdom and perspective, you can say, hey, that was a significant moment for me. Anything stick out for you?
One specific moment. I suppose there might have been a couple. I think maybe when we went to the European Championship finals with the Irish team under 17s, and I think like we were all so upset when we got beaten and everything like that. And I think like maybe it did seem like a big thing at the time, but looking back, like them kind of losses and them, being destroyed by a team makes you think and come back and reflect and say like, okay, this is where I need to improve on. And it made me grow as a player and as a person. Trying to lead a team out there was difficult, but definitely stands to me now in my work, in my football now, and how to kind of help younger players that are coming through the system as well.
Now, a quick question, then we're going to take a break. Euro Cup, just ended, for the men. Um, you were born in England, but you said you call yourself Irish. Were you rooting for England or Spain in that final?
Oh, absolutely Spain. No, I wouldn't be rooting for England now.
Oh, I love it. I mean, what an incredible match there. That last goal just out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy enough when I seen that goal go in. All right.
Yeah. For our listeners, our guest today is Tiegan Ruddy. She is a business rep for a company called SportsKey. We're going to hear about that later. She's also a professional football player. Let's go and take that break, but we're coming back with a lot more. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Huddle for their support. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, all of our coaches, just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes love the videos, our parents love the streaming, but there is so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com, start creating world-class content for your school's social media channel. Your kids are on social media, so are a lot of their parents. And if they're not seeing content that celebrates their accomplishments and promotes your program, you're really missing out on a great opportunity. Go to Gipper.com. It's used and trusted by over 4,000 high school and college teams. It's professional graphic design made easy. That's Gipper.com. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest today is Tiegan Ruddy. Tiegan, you took us up through your time at Central Connecticut. You mentioned you tore your ACL. Obviously, you bounced back, but talk a little bit about that. Post injury and then post college. You're a professional athlete. Share with our listeners that story.
Yeah, so I think that was obviously a big kind of moment in my career. I never thought it would happen to me. I know a lot of people that it happened to. And yeah, it took me I think it took 14 months in the end to get back actually playing a match. But I think there was major lessons learned in terms of or major growth that occurred, I think, in terms of, I started reading a lot. I was journaling. I was, speaking to a life coach, everything like that. That really helped me grow off the pitch as well as, getting stronger in the gym and stuff. So yeah, once I came back there, I kind of felt like maybe a new kind of person, maybe. So after my ACL, I went to college then in Ireland. So I done 3 years, and I got a business and law degree, a major, as you would say. And then I after that I went straight to Switzerland. So I went and played professional football in a place called FC Sion, which is just outside of Geneva. So I spent a year there, which was crazy. It was a whirlwind, but yeah, brilliant experience.
So share with our listeners again, going straight from college, coming back and becoming a professional athlete. What was that lifestyle like? Was it all glamorous? Was it, riding in vans? What was
Oh,
your experience?
sorry, I just froze there. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I always had an itch to go away and play. Um, and I didn't think I would end up in Switzerland, but yeah, it was crazy. I'm the type of person that likes to stay busy and active and doing things. Um, so to go and only be, training for 2 hours a day, maybe it was a bit, I was bored maybe. But it was nice to live that lifestyle where you had no, additional stress or anything really other than just focusing on your own game. It was a really quiet area where I lived. I lived like in a place called the Valais in Switzerland. So it's very remote, mountainous, like beautiful scenery. And it was just cool to live that lifestyle. Everything was through French, so I had to sharpen up my French skills. But no, it was good. There was ups and downs, but overall, I'm really really happy I done that.
Well, you mentioned you were in Switzerland for a year. What was your next stop? Again, I shared with our listeners, you're with the Bohemian Football Club. How did that all develop?
Yeah, so when I came home last year from Switzerland, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I didn't really have, felt maybe a bit lost. So I came home and I played them with a different club in Ireland, so Shamrock Rovers, for a couple of months. Um that probably didn't go to plan really as I wanted it to. But then I suppose a new chapter started at Bohemian. So we call ourselves Bows. And it's yeah, a brilliant club in Dublin. A club that does a lot for the community, and I very much like that about it. The culture around the club is brilliant. So yeah, the manager new manager came in, Ken Kiernan, and yeah, he just gave me a phone call, and yeah, the rest is history. I've been there now, good few months, so I'm really enjoying it.
What now? Is the season for women's professional soccer, is it the same? Does it run concurrently with the men? Is it a different season? Obviously, in the States, we don't get a lot of European women's soccer coverage, or at least I don't.
Yeah. It's the same as the men's here, but it's not the same as like let's say like the Premier League or anything like that in England. So we run from March until October.
Okay, so you're actually you're going right now, right?
Mid-season, yeah.
Okay, how's the team doing?
Oh, it's been a bit hit and miss. We're winning games that we aren't expected to win, then we're losing games that we're expected to win. So it's been a bit mixed, but like there's a lot of new players in the door, so it's really trying to get that culture piece right and everyone on the same page, and then hopefully we can kick on from here now in the second half of the season.
This might be a challenging question. I don't mean to ambush you here, but you're a few years out of college. You've already played at the pro level. Do you see yourself climbing that ladder and making it to let's say a higher level, or is you're very happy doing what you're doing? Because again, I know you work for SportsKey as well. What's your soccer plans, if I can be so bold?
No, you're okay. Yeah, I suppose I wasn't enjoying it at some time, like at parts of the year last year. Um, and my main focus was, just being happy, enjoying the game, and then see where it takes me. So, I mean, right now I think I'm playing I'm playing good football at the minute, thank God. And then look, if I continue to be happy with it and perform well, never know what could happen. But I'm just trying to stay kind of in the present at the minute, just trying to focus next game, and my whole focus is on Bows. But yeah, look, if something potentially exciting came up, yeah, I'd have to consider it. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's so cool. Now I'm going to be looking up and following the Bows, Bohemian Football Club out of
Absolutely.
Dublin. Eh?
Absolutely.
Let's go and take another quick break. Once again, for our listeners, our guest today is Tiegan Ruddy. She's a professional football player in Ireland, and she's also a business development rep for a company called SportsKey. We're going to hear about that in a minute, so please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo. See their score tables and their scoreboards in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an athletic director was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. You can have one for your gym and your facility. Just go to sidelineinteractive.com. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to thank the Ohio University Online Masters in Athletic Administration. This is a 20-month, very affordable, completely online program that also allows you to complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses that can go towards your CAA. To find out more information, go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters. We'd like to thank Hometown Ticketing for their support. Go to hometownticketing.com. They are the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. That's hometownticketing.com. Check them out today. And we want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the events, or show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention the podcast, you'll get a nice discount. vitalsignswalloffame.com. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Once again, our guest is Tiegan Ruddy. She's a professional football player from Ireland, but she's also a business development rep for a company called SportsKey. So, Tiegan, share a little bit with our listeners. What is SportsKey? Why should they be interested? And how you came to be involved with the company?
Perfect. Thanks, Jake. So yeah, look, SportsKey is a sports facility management software that essentially makes your facilities at your school more accessible to book and to take rentals in and reduce admin for athletic directors, rental coordinators, whilst also streamlining the scheduling at your school for, all your multiple internal teams as well.
There's a lot of different platforms out there that an athletic director, or as you mentioned, a facility manager can choose from. What are some things that drew you to rep for SportsKey that you'd like to share with our listeners now?
Yeah, so there is a lot of platforms out there. But to be honest, the first thing that really drew me towards SportsKey was the mission. So our mission is to help 20 million people play sport by the end of this year, which we're on track for. And I can see, this platform has helped a lot of facilities, increase their numbers through the door, when potentially their facilities were lying idle. And yeah, we have a lot of different, I suppose, facility types. So mainly like in America, we have the high schools, colleges, universities, commercial venues, MLS clubs. So it really varies. It really varies as to where we are.
What are some ways that, since you've been with the company, what are some unique ways that you've seen facilities utilize SportsKey? Because again, I've been to the website and, there's just so many really cool features. What are some, I guess, interesting ways beyond the basics that you've seen facilities use the product?
Yeah, so like that, we do have a lot of features that we've been building off the back of, customer feedback, and that's a big thing that we strive to do. I think, to be honest, Jake, I think the whole piece around, which is quite new to us, is the whole camps and classes piece. So I know, football camps, clinics, everything in the US is really it's a big industry, in the summer especially, and people have used our schools have used our camps and clinics feature to actually take registration for all these camps, take payment, and it really just helps, I suppose, the AD, the rental coordinator, to really streamline, save time, and cut their hours in half is what we aim to do, and also just increase that revenue by at least 30%. So that's our main kind of aims for when customers come on board. We want to help them do all that, and take the headaches away from an AD. We know the life expectancy is short of an AD, so to try and increase that through a software is something that we hope to do at SportsKey.
No, again, great stuff. A lot of athletic directors, and you know this, you've spoken, but and again, I don't want to say a lot. Let's say some athletic directors, they're like me when technology first kind of came along. They were somewhat hesitant, maybe even a little fearful about trying something new. And again, I've been to the website and I've seen the platform. So pretend that I just called you up and I say, "Oh, Tiegan, my buddy was telling me about SportsKey. I don't know." So I'm that reluctant athletic director. Walk me through it. I know we're not doing a screen share or anything like that,
Yeah.
but walk me through a couple of things as a tech phobic athletic director.
Yeah, look, I know I come across this is daily, people hesitant to, make a change from different, potentially other platforms, or, some people you still use pen and paper or the whiteboard. But really what we try and do for the AD is, like, if you're using a Google Calendar, an Excel spreadsheet, that's what we come across a lot lately, is people that are, one spreadsheet that no one else can see, and the AD, the coaches ring the AD, and the AD has to go back and forth. Can I have this slot? Can I have this slot? So what I would say to you is that if you're hesitant in this, with coming on board with a new software, we really try and hold your hand with this, and we want this to benefit you. We really won't, I suppose, sell to people that we don't see the real value in it for them, because that's just not kind of how we operate. If we know that we can, reduce your hours significantly by, no more phone calls and emails late at night for a rental or a coach ringing you up. If we can cut that down, and we can potentially increase your revenue if you wanted to use us for rentals, then yeah, we hold your hand through that process, really try and streamline that scheduling piece. And yeah, our onboarding, I suppose, is where, we train you up until you're up to speed. Could potentially take maybe 3 or 4 weeks until you go live, and then yeah, it's all yours then. Yeah, and we help you. We're there for support as well, but yeah, we like to have that relationship with our customer as well. It's really important to us.
And again, for athletic directors listening, that role, facility coordinator, whatever you want to call it, is something that you could delegate to an assistant athletic director, to a coach that is aspiring to maybe get started in athletic administration. So it's going to streamline your job, and you can streamline it even further by bringing people from your team on. Tiegan, we'll do this at the end of the podcast too, but if one of our listeners wanted to reach out Find out more about SportsKey, or maybe just pick your brain as a professional soccer player. What's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, so if they personally wanted to contact me, I'm absolutely open for anyone to contact me. My contact details is Teagan@sportskey.com, or else they can head over to our website, sportskey.com, and where they can book in a free demo of our software, a free chat basically, see if this could be for them. If they're, they're sick of their Google Calendar, their spreadsheet, they want to save time, and book in a call, and I can see me or one of my colleagues can help them out and start the process from there, really.
All right, very cool. So that's sportskey.com. And then the email was Teagan@sportskey.com.
That's the one.
All right. Again, we'll give that out at the end of the podcast. Let's go and take a quick break. But we are definitely coming back with more. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Home Campus for their support. Athletic directors are constantly dealing with student athlete eligibility and clearance, and Home Campus is a platform that is going to help you immensely with that. Parents, even student athletes, can upload their information directly into the platform so you can check it and make eligibility concerns a thing of the past. Go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com for more information. We also want to say thanks to our good friends at Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and ended up with little, if any, return on investment? Those days are over. Go to snapraise.com. Hands down, the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with tremendous success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it. It works. Go to snapraise.com for more information. That's snapraise.com. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Tiegan, one of the things we try to do with the podcast is this idea of sharing best practices. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little. You came up through the club system in Ireland, Division I athlete, professional athlete, and now you're working for SportsKey. What are some leadership best practices that you have seen, or even things that you do yourself as a leader, as a coach, that you can share with some of our listeners that they might be able to incorporate?
Yeah, I've come across some fantastic leaders through football and work and everything. And currently at the minute I would say a big mentor and a leader for me that I've learned a lot is actually our CEO, Craig Bewley. And I think a lot of the things that I try to take into my day-to-day life come from him. So I think the main ones would be like do what we do what we say. So if you're gonna say something, we're gonna do it, and there's no messing about really there. We're all accountable to each other in that way. I think a big one is, it might sound a bit simple, but enjoyment. So do love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life type thing. I think that's massive. I think if you're not enjoying it, you won't get the best out of yourself. And I think that's a big, strong, I suppose a value and a core value within SportsKey is to really, if you're not enjoying it, how can we best help? How do we fix this? How do we make this a bit better? And celebrate success. I think, you can work so hard. You can work so hard tirelessly, 5 days a week, 9 to 9, do great, make loads of money, or, hit your targets. But if you're not actually celebrating that win, I don't think there's really a point. So I think, yeah, celebrating success. And I think maybe the last one could be, empowerment. So if, you're working with someone that could be potentially, maybe in a lesser role than you, is new to the company, new to the team, if you can empower them and make them feel part of it, part of the team, I think that's really important, especially I suppose in business and in football. It's new person on the team, how can we best help them, empower them, make them feel good. I think that's gets the best out of people.
Wow, you probably saw me scribbling all those down. Those are great ideas. And again, they'd be great tools in the toolbox, which is coming up. But the one that sticks out for me the most, and again, they were all great, is the part about where you shared, love what you do. If you love what you do, you're never going to work a day in your life. I always have to share the story. My dad, um, when I was very young, probably junior high age, my brothers and I, we all got to work for my dad. He was a contractor, and I just hated it. I hated every minute of it. And one day I was probably griping on the job, and my dad said, Jake, the secret to happiness is finding something you love to do and then convincing somebody else to pay you to do that. And he had that with his job. He loved his job. And I found that with teaching and coaching too. Sounds like you found that as well. But yeah, love what you do. And again, your last one, celebrate success. I don't think we do that enough. It's so important because, especially in coaching and in teaching and being an AD, we have a fun job. Okay, so there is so much to celebrate. Very cool stuff. Uh, Tiegan, this has been great. Spending some time with you, getting to know you, finding out a little bit more about SportsKey. But we're not done yet. We always wrap up our interviews with the athletic director toolbox. Now, you're not an athletic director, but you certainly know a thing or two about athletic leadership. So we're going to take our final break, hear from Athletic Surveys. When we come back, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new athletic director, or we could say a brand new leader, on their very first job. But I'm only going to let you put 3 items in that toolbox. So let's hear from Athletic Surveys. And then we're going to find out what Tiegan Ruddy is going to put in her new athletic director toolbox. We'd like to thank Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment of the podcast. Athletic directors already get feedback, but usually it's from a very small group, and all they want to do is complain. Athletic Surveys will connect you to that group, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% of your stakeholders that support your program. And that information is incredibly valuable, especially when you're meeting with that frustrated parent, or maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Tiegan Ruddy. She is a professional soccer player in Ireland, also a business development rep with a company called SportsKey. Make sure you check them out. Incredible background in athletics, but right now I'm going to challenge her to send out a brand new athletic director on the very first job, but I'm only going to let her put 3 items in the toolbox. So Tiegan, what 3 items are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
Yeah, so this is a good question. Mine are probably, they all vary a lot, but we'll go with it. I don't know if they've been said before, but we'll do it. So my first one would be, I know ADs have a very stressful life, and it can be difficult trying to manage a program, but I think number 1 would be, I send them out a good heart. So if they have a good heart and they can see, the good in people when things are difficult, I think that would be my number 1. And my number 2, similar, a good ear. So I think they need to be able to listen. ADs, they're so busy with multiple things, they might forget to listen to something maybe important. So I think that would be my number 2. So sending them out some body parts first. And then the third one, I think would be a book. So they can choose the book, but I'll send out a book that that they can choose. But I think if they can potentially grow the culture and form a good culture around potentially any topic that they would like, through reading and sharing, tips about this. So like we do a book club in SportsKey every month. I think it really brings everyone together. So it's really good sharing, tips about anything really. So I'd actually throw one of your books in, Jake. So we'll throw one of yours in. That's the third one. And then the fourth one is a SportsKey subscription. So that's my last tool. I think if there's any ADs out there struggling with scheduling and, you know, either internal scheduling or the rental process, they can tap into that subscription and save themselves some headaches and time.
Well, thank you so much for the shout out. Again, I love the way that you phrase that, you know, have a good heart, you know, see the good in people. You know, very, very cool stuff. And of course, SportsKey. Speaking of SportsKey, if our listeners want to find out more, or as I mentioned, you know, connect with you and listeners, I think you got a great resource here. What's the best way they can find out more?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways. If they want to chat to me directly and try and understand my accent, they can email me at Tiegan@sportskey.com, or else they can head to our website, sportskey.com, or else they can also check us out on LinkedIn. I know a lot of ADs use that, so they can follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, or X now. Yeah, so a lot of different ways, but I mean, booking in probably a conversation or a demo on our website would probably be the potentially the easiest way.
Well, Tiegan, thanks again for sharing with our listeners. All the best as you move forward with the Bows, the Bohemian Football Club of Ireland, and with SportsKey. And we're going to have to get you back on for an update after the season.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Jake. Really appreciate it.
Oh, we appreciate you. We also appreciate our listeners, and we want to remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day, sharing stories and best practices. So we hope that you'll join us again for another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.